Hi and welcome to this video. The topic, as usual, is awakening. And one thing that is quite funny actually is the fact that we all tend to have all these ideas about awakening and what it's going to be like and what it is. And in my case, for example, I'd read a lot of books, I'd seen some videos, I've been listening to or watching YouTube videos, whatever, and I'd made some pretty strong ideas about awakening, and it turned out to be completely different. And I have to underline that it was completely different for me, because that's the point. The point is that it can only be true for the person who's experiencing it. Of course there are things that I recognize, of course there are similarities, of course there are like one language that will fit when you talk about certain things, or that will be the best way to talk about things, or most precise way. But still, it was nothing what I'd ever dreamed about, and it won't be for you either. And actually, it was my ideas and my expectations that was it became actually a hindering in some way, because we all have a tendency to look for the things that we expect, and it's very, very easy to overlook the things that we don't even recognize, or the things that we don't expect to be there or recognize when we see them. So we want to open ourselves up to every possibility, to every possible way that things can turn out. And one of the ways, I've been talking about this before, is ridding ourselves of stories. And part of why it's a good idea to look at your own stories is because as you see your stories and your dogma ideas, you're able to confront them, you're able to rid yourself of them. But as long as you haven't seen them, they'll fill up the space that you would want to be freed, in order to fill yourself up with this one ultimate truth that is who you are, very, very deep within, in your innermost being. And you want that innermost being to grow and expand, eventually to fill you up in all those in all that space that were previously taken by your thoughts and your ideas and your belief systems. That's at least one way you can look at it. And what I wanted to talk to you about also today is this idea. I think it's a very common idea. I meet it a lot, that you will become something else, that you'll be someone else, or become different, or be more like someone, maybe someone you've read about, or and that's also a misunderstanding, because it turns out that this oneness, this divine space, this divine love, is who you are, and you have always been that divinity, that divine love. And so as you rid yourself of all what you've been carrying in your backpack, you'll find that you become more and more who you are. with your individuality completely intact, but no longer telling stories that you made up about yourself, or your parents made about you, or your family made about you, or society made about you. And you start to recognizing who you really are. And it's not gonna be more like this master you've been following. It's not gonna be more like these spiritual persons. It's just gonna be more like yourself. Because that's what God is. God is you, but expressed in millions and millions of people. We are all unique. We are all different, and we're supposed to be. We're not supposed to become like this grey matter of alikeness. We're going to be individual, we're going to be unique, we're going to be colorful, and most of all, ourselves. And what I have turned out to become is not who you are turning out to be. Yet still, underneath the individual, underneath the unique you, that presence that lies within is the same. And to some it sounds like a paradox, but when you experience it, it's not. And also this one divine space of nothingness or of love or whatever you call it, still has all these unique faces, these unique expressions. And so even being totally one with that presence inside, it's not experienced similar in two different people. There will always be differences because we are different. And so maybe you ask, well, how will I ever rid myself of these stories? And I can only say, it's kind of a process that goes both ways, because as you open up, automatically you will start confronting your old patterns, your old stories, and you can also do it actively. If you're lucky enough to sit with a teacher, or maybe even a master, that process can be speeded up quite a lot, and that's why I've been very blessed to sit with a master. I've also been confronted with every bit of my personality, and still am. And we have some really beautiful tools out there. I've enjoyed reading about Byron Katie and the work that she's doing, where you can practice looking through the illusions of the mind, or also with great joy read the books of Eckhart Tolle, and the way he is teaching people to stay in the present moment. It's also a way of handling and making space, handling your stories and making space for the divinity within. And what I would like to point at is also remembering that in the end, it's all about allowing. It's actually saying yes to this divinity within, and also allowing it to grow inside of you with all your effort, allowing and saying yes. And so eventually you'll start to realize what you really are and who you really are. And you'll be amazed, because you'll realize you're not what you thought you were going to be, because your thoughts and your ideas were all made up of things around you and things that you've been looking at or wanting for yourself. But now you realize that you're you. And you get to a point where you feel like that's absolutely enough. You don't want it to be any different, because you are everything you ever looked for and everything you ever needed. And that is true bliss. That is the paradise of just being you, living your life, participating in society, but from a totally different perspective. You're not supposed to sit meditating all day long, but to bring out this new awareness and share it on your workspace with your friends and neighbors. That's your true bliss. And so that's what I wanted to talk to you about today, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you again someday. Take care. Bye.